Hey, 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 this is Natasha Nurse, the lifestyle editor for Plus Model Magazine, and I'm really excited to be speaking with Sarah Sapora. She loves cowboy boots, strength training, and is a certified KR Kundalini Yoga teacher. She's also a woman on a wellness journey, a self-love mentor, and the founder of Body Love Workshop, a size-inclusive personal growth and holistic wellness workshop. Her motto is Rise the F Up, which reminds us that change is possible at any age, weight, or point in our life. And of course, you will learn more about her and her journey, but and her social media details and all that. But without further ado, Sarah, how are you?
It's always so weird when people read your bio back to you and talk to you about you. You're like, whoever that person is sounds amazing. I should go be friends with her. I wonder if she would like me and think I'm cool enough. So thank you for having whoever that really interesting person is on your podcast. Thank you for that.
Yes, yes. You happen to be this badass woman. So
That's
yeah, I mean,
so weird.
well, yeah, I mean, really, I came across you essentially online, and I was like, who is this woman? I have to interview her for Plus Model Magazine. So I guess to get everyone up to speed, can you share a little bit about your journey and how you became the woman you are today?
Wow. Yeah, I will do that in like about 1 minute, right? Yeah, that's like the biggest, hugest question. Okay, so many of you who are listening right now actually may recognize me as someone who has worked in the plus industry for many years. So I like to tell people that I've worked in marketing for some way or another for about 16 years. And I spent
Mm,
many of those years directly working in women's plus size fashion. And that was really the first time that I started thinking about self-love and body positivity and body confidence, because I was the director for a brand and I was responsible for crafting the brand voice. And when I was there,
mm,
I just started telling stories. I started telling my stories. I
mm-hmm,
started talking about how I felt about my arms and my body and my confidence. And I found that so many women were just radiating with that. And that was the first
mm,
time that I realized that the things that I'm feeling in life, they're not my experiences. They're
mm-hmm,
this big communal experience, and it's just stuff we're not talking about.
mm-hmm,
Um, so in 2015, I had sort of this very intense, I don't know, fortuitous, challenging life moment where both of my parents ended up in the hospital at the same time. Like legitimate,
wow.
true fact. My mom was in the hospital in New York City. My dad was in the hospital in New Jersey at the exact same time. And I had a moment where I really just realized that my overall health was not where I wanted it to be.
Mm-hmm,
And that was a really big acknowledgement for a woman in her mid 30s for the first time. I have been heavy in some variation, shape, or form pretty much my entire life. And I have never let my body stop me or make me feel less than others. And I've just always sort of lived and just not really thought about it. And I had that realization where I was like, okay, girl, you have two parents who have heart disease. Maybe you should stop and
mm,
think about this, because you couldn't walk from the garage to your mom's hospital bed, which was like a block, literally like a block, without
mm,
stopping. So I had that realization and, of course, did absolutely nothing about it, because, that's what
mm-hmm.
happens in life. Like, we have these big prophetic moments and then we do jack. And at that same time, I started thinking a lot about my career and about how I could contribute and what I was doing to serve, and if I was serving, and if I was like doing anything that meant anything, and like, was I doing anything good? And I came to the answer that was no, but that I could do
Mm,
something. And I said, okay, girl, you are not going to work harder for anybody else's dream than you would your own dream ever again. And now you get to figure out what that is,
mm,
which was really cool and really scary, but really awesome at the same time.
mm-hmm,
So I just sort of like went around life and doing what I thought I, was supposed to be doing, chasing my dream and like doing random shit, like just doing all this stuff. And in early spring of 2016, I had a moment where I was thinking about my dating life, which was really not great. And I realized that I was making the same mistake with the men in my life again and again and again and again, and expecting a different result. And I had this moment of brutal honesty, and I was like, okay, the only thing that's really in common with all of these men is you. So that's when I said, okay, your body is not supporting you the way you want your body to be supporting you, right? You're not feeling as strong and as mobile as you want. Your emotional life is clearly not as dialed in as you want it to be, because if it was, you would be finding more healthful relationships with men instead of the same thing again and again. And I also could tell that professionally, I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't doing anything. And that was when I said, no, it's time to make a change. And if you are 37 and this shit is freaking you out right now, then there have to be hundreds of thousands, if not millions of other women who feel exactly the same as you, except nobody's talking about it. So let's talk about it. And that's what I started doing. In 2016, I started a journey to literally create a happier, healthier version of me, having no rules, no idea what it was going to just look like, but only driven by the willingness to do something different, knowing that where I was no longer okay. I could not live my life where I felt it was passing me by. I was done with that. And so I began to change from the inside out in really challenging, awesome, brutal, beautiful, amazing, hard ways, because that's what self-growth and self-actualization is like. It goes so far beyond the bath bombs, which are great, but it goes so far beyond that into like this really, really intense willingness to see the part that you've played in creating your own reality. And then being able to do that with grace and forgiveness and say, okay, but now I'm going to do something else. And that is how I've gotten to where I am now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was that first step that you did? Was it like scour the internet? Did you speak with mentors or women in kind of the self-love body wellness space?
That's a great question. The first thing I did, I'm gonna tell you two things. The first thing I did was be willing to believe that something different was possible for my life than what I was already experiencing. Okay.
Absolutely.
So when I teach and when I coach and I do workshops, I say that faith is one of the biggest things that literally has made my journey possible. And love and faith over fear is what allows you to move forward when you feel really stuck in your own shit, right? So I say at nearly 360 pounds, my left knee could buckle out from underneath me at any given time. And I had just sort of gotten used to living life where I was that physically uncomfortable. Well, if somebody tells you it doesn't have to be this way, you want to like give them the middle finger and be like, yo, this is my bot. Like, I'm here, man. What do you mean? Yeah, there was a massive willingness to believe that a different state of being could be possible for my body. And the same with my emotional life. I was feeling so stuck. I was feeling so unconnected to partners, so uninspired. And I just say, okay, I don't know what it's going to look like. I have no idea. And this scares the shit out of me. But I have to be willing to believe that something possible is different from me other than I experienced. And the second thing, which I did at the same time, was know that I needed to ask for help. Because I knew that if I was capable of getting to the place that I needed to be by myself, I would have gotten there. And so the first thing I did was ask for help. And the first thing I did was actually look for a physical trainer, because I knew that movement was so essential for me. And I knew that my soul actually really liked movement, was just that my body didn't really like it just yet because it hurt and it was painful. But I knew if it was going to not be, that I had to get help. But I also knew I deserved guidance and I deserved support. So I asked for help. And I did those things kind of like around the same time. And then I just jumped and I'm like, fuck it, let's go. It's time. It's time. I'm ready. And I literally have not looked back since, literally. Yeah.
Okay. And with the Body Love Workshop, what is that all about? And share all the details. Yeah.
Sure. So when I started my journey, I started to go to classes and events and workshops, and everywhere I would go, I would be the only person of size. And I'm like, this is bullshit. Forgive me here, but like literally I would say that. I would be like, where are the people of color? Where are the plus size people? Where are the people over 40? Like, where is it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every time I would go somewhere, the only people that I was seeing were slender and young and Caucasian. Now, I have
Mm-hmm.
nothing against slender, young Caucasian people, but the wellness and personal growth industry does a really crappy job of inviting different bodies to the table. And the reality is that all bodies deserve to self-improve in a way that works for them. If you want to change your life, I don't care how old you are. I don't care how much you weigh. I don't care whatever mistakes you think you've made in the past. You
Mm-hmm.
can use tools to create a greater version of yourself in whatever capacity you deem that to be. And that is what I teach, and that is what I stand for, and that is what I believe in. So when I started my journey, I was about 2 months into it, and I said, this is it. I am done. One day I will run an event, and that event will be the safest place. And that event will be a kaleidoscope of bodies and shapes and colors and ages and people, because these are human experiences. These are not
Mm.
one person specific. These are human experiences. And if we remove the shame of our journey, if we remove the fear, if we remove the feminine nature that we have to sort and to compare ourselves to others, if we can get out of our own heads, we will realize that my fear is our fear, and we can rise
Mm.
together. And so that is why I say, I stand, you stand, and together we rise the F up, because it is about getting somewhere together. So the Body Love Workshop is my way of serving. But the workshop is literally my way of creating a safe and welcoming space for bodies of all sizes, shapes, colors, ages to show up for their self-love, show up for their life, tap into that self-love, and learn tools to create a greater life from the inside out. And it truly, truly is a size inclusive experience. And when I say that, I mean that, like, I have sat in all the chairs, and they are sturdy, and there are no handles on the side to poke into your hips, and there are couches, and there is floor seating, and I'll have a counselor on staff for both the days in case people are going through social anxiety or need support. I'll have a low sensory room in case there are introverts or people who need to recharge and relax. And it truly is a weekend of workshops, activities, exercises, karaoke jams, dance breaks, and just opportunities to connect with other like-minded people who are like you, and maybe totally differently than you, but they are
Mm.
like you, and a chance to come together. And it really is just, yeah, I get completely geeked out when I think about it, but it is an army of people who
Mm-hmm.
are all bound together by a desire to create a greater self. People who have felt stuck or limited in their own perceptions of their own body. And how can we use tools to help us create a new narrative for who we are? How can
Mm-hmm.
we how can we embrace our love and choose beyond fear to envision a life and say, this is who I am, this is what I deserve, and this may be challenging, but I'm going to do it. How do we walk into change knowing that change is hard, whatever that
Mm-hmm.
change may be? Because it's not about weight loss. It's about what would help you align to a higher version of your life. And maybe it's having better intimacy with a partner. Maybe it's finding a career that fuels your soul. Maybe it's being
Mm-hmm.
less of a workaholic. Like, how do you find the greater version of you and tap into your self-love so deeply and get some tools that you can create that version? And that's what the Body Love Workshop is about. It's a safe space for people to come together and do that.
I love it. And I love that it's taking place in Vegas. That's kind of interesting.
Yes, yeah. So this is my second year running the workshop. Last year it was in LA and I did it for one day. And this year we're back and we are for the full weekend. And I wanted a place that was logistically friendly for people to get to. And
Mm-hmm.
Vegas is one of those places where everybody can find a flight, everybody can find a hotel room. And we're going to be off the strip because I
Mm-hmm.
really do try to control the experience as much as possible and make it as peaceful and as safe for people as I can. But yeah, it's going to be amazing. And, there will be karaoke and random dance breaks and journaling and meditation and snacks, right? Because
Mm.
who doesn't want snacks, and like good
Yep.
snacks, not like bullshit snacks. Like if I'm going somewhere, I want good snacks, and I take my
Hmm.
snacks very seriously, right? So, I mean, really, it's going to be just a joyful experience that it's probably going to be like a combination of personal growth, Tony Robbins meets church, meets yoga class, meets meditation, meets, really great psychology class all in one. It's going to be cool.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. And are you doing all the instruction all weekend? Do you have other teachers or speakers that you'd want to shout out and talk a little bit about?
Wonderful. I do, yeah. So I will obviously be moderating and running the whole event, and I will be talking periodically throughout the workshop, because really this experience is based on the tools and the lessons that I have learned in my life to change my life. But I have a wonderful group of 8 speakers that
Mm.
represent really truly unique, authentic stories, backgrounds, lives, and all of them will be coming together to have fireside style chats with me and panel discussions. And they range from Whitney Way Thor from My Big Fat Fabulous Life to,
Yes.
yes, I love her, to Kenzie Brenna, who is an eating disorder recovery and mental health advocate on Instagram, to
Hmm.
Coach Tulin, who is spearheading the Fitness Has No Size movement. She's a plus size
Hmm.
fitness coach. And Louise Green, who is known as Big Fit Girl. She's an incredible
Hmm.
athlete and fitness instructor. And we'll also have other wonderful people like Ivy Felicia, who's an African American woman and a body relationship coach.
Mm.
Shonda Catrice, who is a stunning empath, soul teacher, spiritual teacher. Jen Mavros, so plus size woman, and she is a spiritual teacher and empath. And my personal mentor, who is the director of Kundalini at Wanderlust Hollywood, Cord Davis, who's going to be teaching the Kundalini portion on Saturday morning.
Mm.
It's gonna be spectacular. And it's not the Sarah show. It's like I'm holding the
Mhm.
party, and then it's the us show. But if you follow me on social and you like the irreverent, authentic, real way that I talk about stuff, then you will feel safe and held and comfortable and excited and welcome in the space.
Mm. And with that, I want you to definitely talk a little bit more about what Kundalini is as yoga and why it's so special and why you really specialize in
Yes, I love this question. I'm so excited. Okay, so
it.
Kundalini Yoga is often referred to as the mother of all yoga. And it's really interesting in that it's different from Hatha, Vinyasa, Bikram, which are forms of yoga that most people are familiar with. And that in those practices of yoga, the emphasis is really on the athleticism of poses and getting your body into certain shapes and
Hmm.
spaces and stuff like that, which can be alienating for those of us who have more challenging mobility, whether it's size or weight or age, whatever. Kundalini Yoga actually focuses on 3 things. The first is on breath and the flow of breath through our body, which is known as pranayam. And our breath is our life force. It
Hmm.
also refers to and takes into account meditation and mantra, how we use making noise and how we use the tongue on the roof of our mouth to stimulate meridian points and to stimulate electronic points in our body, how we use sound current. Okay. And then the final piece is movement. And what I
Mm.
love about Kundalini is that in Kundalini, your body is never not enough. It is never faulty or too flawed to participate, because if you are unable to do something, you modify it. And if you are unable to modify it, then all you have to do is remain in the present moment, committed to the breath, committed to the meditation, and you will experience some sort of a shift, because Kundalini is really a science. It's actually a science and technology of using angles in your body and sound current and movement to release the energetic blocks in our chakras, to release the energy in our body to help us show up as our fullest, truest, most authentic, most empowered version of ourselves. And the majority of class is done with your eyes closed. And this is really great for people who sometimes find themselves comparing themselves to other. Like, it makes it really supportive and wonderful for you to be in your own body without the onus of wondering, can I do this? Do I deserve to be here? And that's what I tell people is Kundalini is about renegotiation. It's about renegotiating with your body and your mind to stay focused, to stay present. And when you have conflict on the mat and you reach something that's hard for you, how do you handle that? Do you handle it by, throwing up your hands and walking away and saying, F this, I can't do this? Or do you renegotiate with your body in kindness and grace and just work on being still and work on being present? Because that's really how we move through the challenges in our life. We don't move through the challenges in our life by avoiding them. We move from the challenges in our life by hunkering down and saying, I do what I can. I am worthy. I'm enough as I am. And I commit to this moment the best I can commit to it. And that's what I love about Kundalini. As a woman who has been an anxious person her entire life and had a really hard time staying still physically, mentally, emotionally, Kundalini has helped me tap into that stillness, and it's helped me tap into peace within myself in such a major way. And I truly believe that that is a tool that we can all use. If we all got more real about our coping mechanisms, if we all got more real about the stuff that we did when we were scared, and if instead of doing that, we were willing to get really still instead, how much more easily could we walk through those things? How much more easily could we conquer the stuff that scares us, right? And stillness is what's required for growth. So that's what I love about Kundalini.
Okay, wonderful. And with that, I just have a couple more questions. I know you're super
Yes.
busy. So, first, I guess, in all that you've learned in your body wellness, body positive journey, what would you say has been, I guess, the most meaningful lesson that you've learned? And,
Yeah.
what is something that you would advise for anyone listening who is interested in changing, making a change in their life, being serious and real about a healthier, happier version of themselves? What do they do?
Yeah, no, that's great. Okay, so the first thing I would have to say is that the greatest thing I have learned is that I have to be accountable for the experience that I am having in my life. Now,
Mm-hmm.
saying that does not mean I can control life. It means that I have to be accountable for myself and the energy I experience and how I view and choose to view life as it happens around me. Am I
Mm-hmm.
viewing life as something that happens to me, or am I viewing
Mm-hmm.
life as something that happens for me? That would
Mm-hmm.
be the biggest lesson. As far as the most important thing someone can do if they are willing to create a greater journey for themselves, I am going to say you have to be really willing to get comfortable being very uncomfortable. And we are
Mm-hmm.
trained as humans, like from the time that we're little, to avoid emotional pain and to avoid things that are challenging. And there's a wonderful quote about change by an American Buddhist nun named Pema Chodron. And what she says is that we have to lean into the hard places, and that growth really occurs when we are willing to lean into the hard places. And
Mm-hmm.
that is what I have learned. It is only when I have been willing to really lean into the things that are hard, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's moving my body when my body does this, my body hurts, whether it's walking away from romantic partners who I love really deeply, even though they don't see me, whether, whatever those are. You have to get comfortable with the idea that you're going to not be comfortable. Because if you don't want to not be comfortable, then you are going to stay exactly where you are. And the only way to experience something different in life is to do something different in life.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, with that, clearly everyone can hear why you're amazing, but why they also need to join the Body Love workshop that's taking place September 28th through the 30th in Las Vegas. So, if you could share just where do they go to get their tickets? Where do they go to learn more about the event and you?
Yes. Yeah, thank you so much. My what I would say is, if you want to create change in your life and you feel stuck, if you know that there's more for you and you don't know how to get it, if you so deeply want to love yourself and rise up and show up in your life for something more other than what you're experiencing, if you've ever been afraid to do that because of who you are, your body, what you've experienced, we see you and you will be safe.
Mm-hmm.
and you will be welcome with open arms to be exactly who you are. And I hope that you will join us. So you can find information for the Body Love Workshop on the website, bodyloveworkshop.com. You can also find oodles of stuff about me in the workshop on my Instagram, which is just my name, Sarah Sapora. And you can also visit my website, sarahsapora.com. And in a very scary internet, I can't believe this is the world we live in way, it is all really Googleable and like all connected. So, you know, we're like one step away from Skynet with that, but it is easy to find.
Yes.
And we are, I mean, the price for registration goes up on September 1st. It is going to be an intimate but really substantial group, and I invite you to join us. It's going to be badass, for lack of better words, just badass.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. I love talking with you. I love learning more about your journey. I know everyone listening definitely did. And at the bare minimum, that you gave them their life in these last couple of minutes. So thank
You're
you.
very kind.
And thank you
Thank
for sharing your
you.
story with Plus Model Magazine.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And to all of the beautiful humans listening out there, thank you, thank you. And know that whoever you are, whether you come to the workshop, follow me on social media or not, it's not about that. It's about knowing that you deserve to rise up in your own life. It is your life and you are capable and it is your time. And I hope you do that.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sarah. All right.
Thank
Talk
you
to
so
soon.
much. I appreciate it.
Yep. Bye.
Bye-bye.